Morning, everyone, and let's start our today's Abhidhamma study by paying homage to the Buddha. Let's recite Namo Tassa 3 times together. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay, welcome to Abhidhamma lesson 41. In this lesson, we're going to study about the process of death and rebirth as the lesson of chapter 5. And also, this will be the final lesson for this year. We will continue our remaining lesson in the next year. So we will finish up to chapter 5. And this year, hopefully we can finish all the chapter of Abhidhamma Sangha up to the Kammatthana Sangha. So in this lesson, regarding about the process of death and rebirth, we will talk about the death, which is essential factors of life, but it is the cutting off the life faculty. So the beings are living depends on the life faculties. As you know, the life faculty, one is the mental factors. So mental factor, Jivitindriya, Cetasika, and the other is life faculty, materialities. So 2 types of life faculty, Jivitindriya. The beings are living on these life faculty. So because the life faculty make the associated mental factor and the accompanying materialities to be living. So they support by the living force to others, other ultimate reality. So cutting off the life faculty means stopping the living. So it is death. This is one of the mind movements. So death refers to the mind movement here. So Chutti Chitta, which is the less mind movement of any life. And we will study about that death. And also, as long as we have the karmic potency to produce a new life, we were reborn in any life. So after death, there will be any rebirth, except the Arahat. We all will be reborn according to our karma. So if we talk about death, we have to talk about the rebirth as well. So we will continue another aspect. So there we will find there are 4 causes of death. So how the death comes in our happen in our life. And there are 4 causes we will study, 4 causes of death. And also in this lesson, we will study about the sign at the time of death. And about this signs of at the time of death, we have already discussed in the chapter 3. Chapter 3 about talking about the object of the Vichimutta Citta, the process-free or door-free consciousness. In the chapter 3, we have already studied, and we will repeat it as it is mentioned in this chapter. And the mind at the time of death. So many people are interested in this text, what happened at the time of death or near that moment, and how it's supposed to new life, because we all want to be reborn in the then death and rebirth linking. So how it happened, that rebirth linking after death. So then also as Abhidhamma Sangha mentioned, some rebirth after death. So specific rebirths after death, we will find the possibility. So if someone died in some situation, and how he can reborn, in which place, and karma and rebirth. So rebirth cannot be happen without the karma. So karma produce rebirth. So we have to know the connection between the karma and rebirth. Okay, so now let's start from the four causes of death. So what are the causes of death? And the first one, Abhidhamma Sangha mentioned that ayukaya marana. So ayukayina, that can happen through the expiration of lifespan. So lifespan here, ayu usually refers to the ayu. In other case, it refers to the life faculties. Life faculty is someone cut off the ayu, it refers to the life faculty. But here, in this case, the one ayu refers to lifespan of the realms where the being was born. So for us, the lifespan of human realms in this time, in this period of time. So how many years is lifespan of our human realm in this time? We have to know. And if we die, if someone died, according to the maximum lifespan, although his productive karma potency is still have the potency to produce the results, but due to the expiration of lifespan, if a person dies, that types of death is called the ayukaya marana, due to of lifespan. And for other person, they die before reaching to the maximum end. So for some existence where the lifespan is bounded by a definite limit, like Chatu Maharajika, etc. For the Deva realms and Brahma realms, they have the specific limitation of the lifespan. But for the human realm, we don't have the specific maximum amount. Sometimes it's going down and sometimes it's going up to the incalculable years. But we can understand the maximum amount of lifespan is called ayu here. And for some people, due to the expiration of lifespan, they die. And then for another people, they die due to the expiration of productive karmic force. So the karma, the no more production for the life, necessity of the life, but still remain the years to reach the maximum amount of lifespan. For example, in the time, the maximum amount of lifespan is 75 years or like that. But without reaching the 75 years, if a person dies due to the expiration of the productive karmic force, that is called the second type of death. Kamakaya Marana. And for the third types is a simultaneous expiration of both lifespan and around the 75 or of his karmic force also gone out. That is called the third types of third causes of death. It is called the Upayakaya Marana. And the last one is Upichidaka Kama Marana. Upichidaka Kama Marana. Here, this is Upichidaka Marana. In there, we have studied in previous lesson. There's 10 types of karma. They are Upaghadaka karma. Upaghadaka karma, one of the karma, which cut off the other productive karma's results and take place to the other karma, to give the opportunity to other karma, or sometimes it produced by itself at this. Or the Upichidaka karma here, the focus is cutting off the others. So here, destructive karma. It is called the Upichidaka karma or Upaghadaka karma. So it happened during the lifetime, not reaching the maximum years of the lifespan. Are the four causes of death. Here, for these four types, the example is given that the example of extinguishing of the oil lamp. So if it can be distinguished by the reason out of the wick. So if the wick is be extinguished, and also another reason is the karmic force that is similar to the out of the oil. So if there is no more oil, the lamp will be flame off, will be extinguished. And also, if both of the wick and oil are both gone, also the lamp cannot continue. So, and another reason is it can be extinguished by hit by the wind. So hit by the wind. So there are four reasons to be extinguished one lamp. In the same way, there are four causes to finish the life, happening the death as the last moment of the life. So in this way, we understand the four causes of death, and Abhidhamma Sangha mentioned that the four causes of death. So here, if we classify among the four causes of four types of death, and former threes, Ayukya Marana, Kamakya Marana, and Ubhayakya Marana. And these three types of death are known as the timely death due to the times. So it is because the expiration of the karmic force also it comes. We can understand it is the time for death because the life is continuing by the force of the karma. If there's no more productive karmic force, it is the time to the time for the death. That is why these former threes are regarded as the Kala Marana, death due to the time. And the last one, Upichidaka Marana, is still remaining the lifespan, the years of lifespan, and the remaining force. They are ready, but due to the powerful destructive karma, it happened, the death comes. So the last one is untimely death, which is called in Pali Akala Marana. If that person can prevent that destructive karma by the power of the opposite karma not to happen, and he can still continue his life. That is why that opposite karma is akala. It happened due to the destructive karma, powerful destructive karma. Okay, now we understand how and why the death happened. For reasons. So then let's continue about the object. The death is one of the functions which happen in door-free consciousness, which are formed by the door-free consciousness, Dwara Vimutta Citta. So we already studied this in the lesson 30, so we just need to review this for a short. Many times we have already discussed about the 19 types of consciousness, with those free, on the process free, and also the Pratisandhi, Bhavanka, and Chutti. What are the object of these consciousness, including death? So it takes the six objects, six are different by the other consciousness. But here, let's go to the first one is karma, second one karma nimitta, sign of karma, and gati nimitta, sign of destiny. So six subjects came to three classes. Sometimes it appears as karma, sometimes it appears as the sign of karma, and sometimes it appears as the sign of destiny. And so what happens? So when we studied about the Pratisandhi, the object of the rebirth, we have to know this usually happen. This object, any of these three objects happen in the immediately preceding existence. But this is the message while we are studying about the object of rebirth and studying about the object of death. Also, what happens? So in this slide, when when our death moment happens, our death moment cannot take cannot take the object, present object. It follows object of the life continuum and Bhavanga, left continuum, Bhavanga, and rebirth linking Pratisandhi in the same lifetime, in the same life. If our death moment of consciousness arises in this life, it will follow the rebirth linking of this life. So it's already passed. This rebirth linking also take any of the six objects appearing in three ways: karma, karma nimitta, or gati nimitta, from the immediately preceding existence. So the consciousness in the death moment of this life take the past six objects, same as the rebirth linking and life continuum. This is the precise moment of the death. So we will study near death moment, the object of the near death moment, that we have to make clear the object of the death moment and the object of the near death moment. So in this slide, the object of death moment, Chuti Chitta. So Chuti Chitta, unlike the former near-death moment, Chuti Chitta take any of the Karma Nimitta, same as the rebirth, linking, and life. Then that can be any of three karma can be the present or past. So present or past, because the present refers to the moment of the Pratisandhi. But for the life continuum and death, it can still follow in. It is regarded similar to the present. It seems as the present, but it's already gone. Then the present and past object or as a concept. So concept is out of the time limitation. That is why the other object can be possible in two time period of present and past. And for the concept, it is out of the time. So the karma is already past. Karma is past, and karma nimitta can be a present during the time. So during the time of rebirth. And gati nimitta also the argument about the gati nimitta, time of the gati nimitta, okay, we will discuss in the following slides. And here, time of the rebirth linking, it can be present or past object or the concept. The life continuum and death follow or take the same object as the rebirth linking, Pratisandhi. That is why when we consider about our death of this life, and we have to remember it take the same object with the rebirth linking. So the precise moment consciousness, what is the object we study? Then it is the Jivonyina. So here the exception comes to the realm of non-percipient being, asanya satta realm. There's no consciousness. So there's no consciousness, there's no object. The Pratisandhi or rebirth linking of asanya satta is only the materiality. That is why it cannot take any object. So the word Yivonyina is used in the Abhidhamma Sangaha. So it usually, okay, it doesn't matter. And if you understand the asanya satta take a rebirth by the materialities, it's okay. And let's continue about the sign at the time of death. So if we talk about the karma, what is karma? The karma is a good or evil deed performed earlier during the same lifetime, but especially so we can say the precise karma. What is karma? Is the volition. So when the good and evil deed performed, the consciousness is running in the mental process. That at that time, the volition as the universal mental factor is always accompanied, always associated with the consciousness. That is why when we perform good or evil deed in our daily life, the volition associates that volition of mundane, wholesome, and unwholesome moment. So the resultant moment doesn't matter, and the functional moment also cannot produce any result. That is why they are not regarded as karma. The volition associated with the mundane, wholesome, 17, there are 17 mundane, wholesome consciousness, and also 12 unwholesome consciousness. When these type of consciousness arising in our mind at the time, the associated mental factors of volition can can store the karmic potency in our process of mentality. That is called the karma. So karma is happening while we have evil deal. That is why it is the past. So when the karma appear as the object of the rebirth or life continuum or death, it must be the past karma, because it cannot arise at the same time. So that is the karma. That karma by the mind door. You cannot see and you cannot hear the karma. You can just know the karma force appearing in your mind, the volition, and that is the sign of this. That is the object of rebirth, life continuum, or death. It is karma. The second one is sign of karma. Sign of karma is when we perform the good and evil deed. We use some, we see some object, or we hear the voice, etc. These are also the objects. So an object of an image associated with a good and evil deed, and that's about to determine the death, determine the rebirth, next rebirth. So that karma nimitta also can appear by the support of the process, the last process during the last process near that moment, and appear that moment at the time of that moment, and continue to at the time of rebirth linking. So this can be the sign can be taken by 6 door. Sometimes we can see and sometimes we can hear. Okay, for example, if a person is offering the karma of the donation, is going to take the opportunity to determine about the rebirth and next rebirth. And before his death in the previous life, the last process taken, bringing some information about that karma, and show the sign as any of the object, and seeing during the time he is seeing, and then he died and he reborn. At that time, that of the form of the monks, which appear in his eye, present moment, at the present moment, because that is just a sign, not the visible form itself. That sign still the present moment, and the rebirth take place. Rebirth happen. Rebirth take place. That is why that rebirth is taken the present moment of the sign of karma. Also, it continue to hand it over to the life continuum and death for that life, the same lifespan. And also sometimes the instrument, when we offer and the robe or food or appear, that is called the karma nimitta. That's all the karma nimitta. And sometimes we are talking or consulting to do that, and the voice are repeating in our ears, as if it happened at the same time. Yeah. That is called the karma nimitta. Then, so the gati nimitta is a sample of the realm into which the dying person is about to be reborn. That is the future is this done. The symbol of realms, it means this is the moment of the death. During the moment of the death, after that moment that he was reborn, any realms, there are symbol related to that realms come into his mind. That is called the Gadinimita. Gadinimita. Okay, so it also the argument comes about this Gadinimita. Vibhavini, Abhidhammata Vibhavini, which is the sub-commentary of the Abhidhammata Sangaha, it explains that the sign of destiny, Gadinimita, can be taken by the mind door. So it can appear through the mind door only. And also it must be present. So it must be present as seeing the form of the fairies or the mansion, the celestial mansion mentioned in the Deva realms. Seeing that is because he is going to be reborn in the Deva realms. Like this. According to the Abhidhamma Vibhavini, it is said here through just present. But the Venerable Lady Seara rejected that statement, and he said it is too narrow. It must be the wider sense, because the Abhidhammata Sangha also just mentioned about the Gatinimeda in general way. For the Kammanimeda, it is said it can be past and present. The text itself, Abhidhammata Sangha, itself emphasized on that. But for the Gadinimeda, it expressed, the Abhidhammata Sangha expressed general way, in general expression. So it can be the Gadinimeda, the sign of destiny can be both past and present. Yeah. And also it can appear through sixth door, not only mind door. So Gadinimeda can appear through eye door, ear door, etc. That is according to Venerable Lady Seara. It has the wider sense of wider range. And okay, so this is about the three types of the object. That is door-free consciousness, birth, life continuum, and death. So okay, here the object just before the death moment, there happened the process, and it's supposed to okay. So the object of the death moment, similar to the former two, rebirth and life continuum. These Kamma, Kammanimeda, and Gatinimeda can appear through the mind door process. Through the mind door process, when it appears, mind door process, it can be both Kamma, Kammanimeda, Gatinimeda. Because here, the Kamma can appear only at the mind door. And also, for the destination, for the sign of destiny also, according to Vibhavini, it can appear only through the mind door. And for the Kammanimeda, it can be through the sixth door. So the mind door process cover all Kamma, Kammanimeda, and Gatinimeda. But if happen through the five doors, so the beings can die in any times while the mental process is happening. So the less mental process is happening. That is why it is possible to die during the five door process is running, and after that it drops the death moment. That is why the being can die with the five doors too. So if the being die five door, there must be that is the present sign of Kamma. Present sign of Kamma. So this is the Kamma Nimitta. It must be present. Because as we have studied in the cognitive process, five door process, the five door process just take the present object. And also only the case of the Kamma Nimitta appear it can appear in 6 doors, so including 5 doors. That is why if a person dies through the mind door, the object can be any of 3, Kamma, Kamma Nimitta, and Gati Nimitta. And if a person dies, the last process is the 5 door process. It must be only one type, the present sign of Kamma or present Kamma Nimitta, second one. This is the recognition according to the process, the door process. And okay, so some other information we need to know is the object of 5 material sphere rebirth linking. 5 material sphere rebirth linking always a sign of Kamma, which is a concept. So here in this case, we have to consider something about that. If someone practice meditation up to attain the jhana level, and if he can keep that the level of concentration in the jhana level up to his last moment, and he will reborn in the Brahma realms. At that time, we can say his rebirth linking consciousness is 5 material sphere rebirth linking consciousness. So to be reborn in that Brahma world, before he died in this present life, his mind must take the sign of Kamma. The concept is called the Patibhaga Nimitta. So taking the Patibhaga Nimitta and die. Then and the near-death moment process run, and after that the death moment arises. For the death moment, it can take the same object with the present life. But for the next existence, the rebirth needs the support of the near-death moment of the present life. So present life, near-death moment must take the concept, the counterpart sign as it is object, and it hand over the next rebirth linking consciousness of next existence, and he reborn in the Brahma realms. So sometimes we have to consider if someone died in accident, if it is it happened very short time, and although he could practice up to the jhana level of the concentration to be reborn in the Brahma realms, but near that moment happened the accident by the Upachitaka Kamma, destructive Kamma, that happened in short times. If he does not have a opportunity to enter to the jhana and to take the Patibhaga Nimitta as it is object in near death moment process, and so it is impossible to be reborn in the Brahma realms. I think that is that kind of how to say, the decision can be done by this information. So if we talk about one information about the Abhidhamma, and it can support the other events to take into account, take into consideration about this fact. Because in the Abhidhamma, it does not differ from here and there all the time. So it applies to other places too. That is why here the information, the object of 5 material sphere rebirth linking, it must take the object of the concept or sign, counterpart sign. And also here in material sphere, also the same, the sign of the Kamma. This is the Kamma Nimitta, which is called the counterpart sign, but it can be sublime state of the concept. As we have studied in the former lesson, the object of the immaterial sphere consciousness, sometimes it is sublime, sublime consciousness, and sometimes the concept. So you can review in this lesson. So here, this mentioned in the page number 223 and 24 of the comprehensive manual of Abhidhamma. You can check there. And so let's continue about the mind at the time of death. So here, the death consciousness, at the time of death is the Chutti-Chitta. That is the last moment of present life, and also the stream of consciousness. So here, we need to identify what we say the Chutti-Chitta is the precise moment, and the stream of the consciousness continually flows. It refers to the near-death moment. So heading to the death moment, the continually flowing, inclining mostly toward that state, toward the death moment. So near death moment, there arise the specific mental process that is called the Maranasana Vichi. So today we are going to study that Maranasana Vichi, and it includes the Patisandhi of the net existence too. So here, the Maranasana Vichi, the stream of consciousness just before the death, which is called the Maranasana Vichi, must have the two types of the conformity to that is, one thing is if in accordance with the Kamma, so it must conform to the Kamma that is to be mature. To be mature means to give it is result of the rebirth linking of net existence. So must conform to the Kamma, which is going to give the result as rebirth. Whether it's pure or correct, the pure Kamma, which can give rise the rebirth in the blissful existence, and corrupt Kamma, which can give rise the rebirth in the woeful state. So it doesn't matter whether it is pure or corrupted, but the stream of consciousness need to conform with the Kamma, that Janaka Kamma, and also in conformity with the state into which one is to be reborn. So that is rebirth. It's so the Kamma and rebirth. So in accordance with the rebirth in next existence. So this stream of existence just before the death moment, it is heading to and also conforming by two aspects, two mental states. One is the Kamma and one is the rebirth in next existence. At the time, the productive Kamma in the next existence. So the present itself. So this rebirth productive Kamma means the next existence rebirth will be produced by that Kamma. That Kamma, so this is that Kamma. That Kamma appear during the moment or stream of consciousness near that moment, Maranasana Vichi. That Kamma appear itself or in a way of renewing. Renewing means there, like it will happen at the very moment. So, for example, if the Kamma of the offering robe to the monks, or offering offering robe to the monk is going to take place, going to produce its result as the rebirth of net existence. At that time, before that person died, in his door, sometimes the monks or the robe or the appearance he is offering, that action or that form is appearing. He is seeing that although maybe the relatives and the doctors and medical instruments are around him, but he cannot see that. And the Karma shows the sign near that moment in the stream of consciousness, near that moment. That time he see as if it is really he is performing that. Then he died and he reborn by the Karma of the good destiny. And in this way, so it appears as if it was being done at the very moment. So like he is doing at the time, at the precise moment of the near death moment. So we have to understand a near death moment, it is not related to the how to say the present influence sometimes. Sometimes when the Karma work, Prodadic Karma work by that way. Sometimes you know that if the Karma is not that powerful and we just follow the present situation and we listen on the some things from the how to say the relatives, etc. And then we are a feeling, or we are our stream of consciousness is happening following that object. Then the death comes. At that time, you know, the object can be the causes of the how to say they're much careful about the near-death moment. If a person is, you know, the severely sick, it seems near death moment, we have to care about him and to show him the good sign and a good object to him, which can be helpful for the next existence for good rebirth. Okay, so this is the death moment and near death moment. Here, the stream of consciousness refers to the near death moment. Okay, so when the death moment, after the near death moment process, at the end of that, the death moment, Tuticita will happen, and that also arises and cease. With the season of the death consciousness, so what happened to that person, that individual, the life faculty cut off, okay, for his death. Then the body, his body remain, the physical body will remain as a mass of inanimate material phenomena. So the remaining body, that body is the inanimate material, only the materiality, group of materiality. So that is the materialities are born of temperature. So temperature born materiality will remain and continue as just until the corpse related to the dust. So still it is rotten and then combined with the dust going into the ground. The later, and if he was, you know, the burn off and then going to the ashes and combined with the dust and to the ground. This is what happened to the human being. What happened to the beings in the human realms. For the Deva realms, when the life faculty cut off, their bodies also disappear. So there's no remaining body for the Deva. For the human realms, we have the remaining bodies. That is only the temperature born matter, like inanimate things. So we have to understand what happened after death also, that moment and after death. Only the material phenomena born of temperature remain. Then, so the process of death and rebirth, linking. Okay, so here the moment of death consciousness is called Tuticita. Okay, that arises. So when a community process, as I said, the the stream of consciousness, which is called the Maranasana Viti, happen just moment. So after that process, sometimes if it end with the registration, after registration, if it end with Javana, after Javana, the Judichita, the last moment arise. And also sometimes at the dissolution of the life continuum, so the process of near-death moment, Maranasana Viti, happen. Then after that, the life continuum 1, 2, or 3 times. And then after that, after the life continuum, the Judichita arise. So this mention about the moment of the Judichita, death, when it can happen. Then when the death consciousness arises, it is the consumption of the present life, or the completion of the present life. It is the end of the present life. The consciousness, the last moment of consciousness arise. After that, it also sits in the 3 phases of Upada, Titi, and Banga. And in a way of death, it happens, the last consciousness. Then immediately after the death moment cease, immediately after that, then the reverse linking consciousness, gaps. There's no gaps between that and the rebirth linking consciousness. So after the dissolution phase of the death moment, then the starting phase of the rebirth consciousness starts. So there's no gaps for the time and place. Even though the death consciousness happened here in the human realm. After that, it happened, the reverse linking consciousness arises in the Brahma world. All is so far, very far, but the moment is there's no gaps after the dissolution phase and the starting phase arise. So we have to understand immediately after the death moment dissolve consciousness and is established in the subsequent existence, in the next existence is start the life. So we will see in the process. Then when the rebirth linking arise, it can be classified into 2. Sometimes it is Sawatuka. So the reverse linking consciousness, which is supported by the heart base, and so that is called the 25 realm of existence with heart base, So except the 4 immaterial realm and Asanya Sada, except the 5. Okay, the 26 realm of existence, there arise the reverse linking consciousness supported by the heart base. And sometimes our Tuga, so baseless rebirth, Chitta, which is not supported by heart base. It is if a person reborn in the immaterial realm of existence, there's no materiality at all. So there's no heart base. Heart base does not support, but still the rebirth consciousness can arise there. Understand there are 2 types of rebirth: Sawatuka rebirth and Awatuka rebirth. Okay, so let's study by the process. So here, this is the 5-door process of death. So some people can die through the 5-door process. It means at the end of 5-door process, the death can. So this is, they are like ordinary 5 doors, but the Javana moment, Javana only 5 times, instead of it's happened 7 times usual, it happened. So during that time, that is called the old life. So up to the death moment of the dissolution phase of the death consciousness, that is called the old life. And the starting from the rebirth, that is called new life. So old life and new life. There is no gaps here rebirth. So the continuous continuous stream of consciousness is called the Maranasana Viti. It can be sometimes 5-door process. So here, eye or ear, etc. Any of the 5-door consciousness can arise in this process. Okay, so this also can happen sometime end with the registration. So if it end with the death happen after the registration moment. So death after registration. And sometimes it is without the registration moment. So the death arises now. So arise after registration, after jhana, and sometimes it happened due to the lifetime of the object. It appear, as you may remember that the in the 5-door process, the object, the lifespan of object is 17 mind movement, 17 mind movements. So due to the lifespan of that mind movement, sometimes it does not cease at the registration moment. It continues the lifespan, so the bhavanga take place. Bhavanga take place at death. And also, if there is no more, there are no registration, it can continue, the bhavanga continue up to the 3 times after that. I mean, the bhavanga is not many mind movement taking place, the bhavanga, but only a few moments after that process, due to the object is not expire, it's not disappear, and it continue after that, it dead. That moment happen. Then immediately after that moment, the rebirth consciousness take place as the new life. So this is how happen the 5-door process, near death moment. Then the object of this 5-door process must be the present, the karma nimitta, which is the sign of the karma, present karma nimitta. If a person die by this near death moment process, it must be that types of object. Okay, let's continue for the another types. Okay, so here the reason why the jhana take place only for 5 times is, the weak. It is so weak. Near that moment, the jhana is so weak, is only 5 times. Then also the object of 5-door process, okay, as I said, the present sign of karma. Then let's continue to the mind-door process. Sometimes the person can die by the last moment of mind-door process. There arise here, it is not necessary to complete, but sometimes it can end with registration moment, and sometimes it can end with jhana moment, and also end with the bhavanga. So life continue. Then death. After that, it new life start. Okay, this is the mind drop process. Then here the object of the mind drop process, if the person is dying with the a person dying with the mind drop process as a last moment, and it can be any of 3: karma, karma nimitta, and gati nimitta. Okay, so then let's continue to study about the consciousness in the process of death. Now we have studied about the process, how happened in the previous slide. There we have to identify the types of consciousness. So they are in the mind of process, as you know, the receiving, registration, determine, etc., investigating, jhana, registration. So if we select of the ultimate reality or types of the consciousness, we get the 45 45 sense-sphere consciousness. So there, out of the 54 sense-sphere consciousness, we get the 45 except the functional jhana. So there are 9 functional jhana. So if we take off the 9 functional jhana, the remaining 45 can be in the mental process of the near-death moment in 5 door. So here, because the not possible process, that is why there is no functional jhana. If the Arhat passed away, we have to add the functional jhana too. But it is said that the Arhat does not take the pre-nibbana or final death or final pre-nibbana by 5 door process. So we understand that the Arhat only died by the mind door process. Okay. Then in the mind door process of waddling and training, so die with the 5 door process. Here in the mind door process also, we have to make the differentiation from trainings. In the mind door process also, since pure consciousness, there are 32 consciousness it can possible. So this is not difficult. There are where you can understand the types of consciousness related to the individual, type of consciousness related to the and type of consciousness after the making the agreement, the former and the following one, and you can identify the sense in SF22 consciousness here, Dribanja Vinyana, because and the Dribanja Vinyana and mind element just arise only in the 5 door process. They never arise in the mind door process. That is why they become exception. And also functional jhana, because the individuals are waddling and trainings. So if we count for the individual and we have to replace the jhana, must be a functional instead of wholesome and unwholesome, it must be functional. So this is the way how we can identify the types of consciousness in the process. So in any identifying in that method, it's not difficult. So let's continue about the process of rebirth. If we talk about the process near that moment, it is and the ancient teachers, they always attach because they are happening in the same continuum. That's why, and they show together with the death process and rebirth process. It is called the Maranasana, which is here in our traditional study. And the process of rebirth, but here the process of rebirth must take place just after death. There must be death. So that is common to us in the round of rebirth. As long as we are running around the samsara, so we reborn. Before we reborn, we have died already. So that is common event, as I said. Okay, so consciousness take place after death. So that is starting from the starting phase of rebirth consciousness, it is called the new life. So what happened in the new life, rebirth consciousness, after that, the Bhavanga up to 15 or 16 times of Bhavanga, 15 or 16 times of Bhavanga. After that, so that you may consider why it is so mind movement, and this is the nature it happened. Then in the honorable level of Abhidhamma, we can find the specific reason for any mind movement. Then here we have to understand how it happened. And the mind dot adverting after that 7 times of jhana, then the Bhavanga continue. Then here the jhana, 7 times of jhana jhana. Possible the other jhana, because all the individual, if he was the mind, he attached to that moment. Although it is full of suffering, the attachment cannot be devised or cannot be absent. So attachment comes. This is come out. The Gri-rooted jhana. That's why the Gri-rooted jhana there. After that, the life continue after some time, and then the other mental process can appears. So here, the rebirth linking consciousness can be the present. The object can be present or past, because sometimes the object from the former existence still does not expire, and then it is continuing. So that is called the karma nimitta. If the karma nimitta come, the present moment, so it continue to the next existence of the rebirth. So after the rebirth linking, it can be present or past. But here, bhavanga, same, the object same after the rebirth linking. Then the new mental process of the new existence start. That start with the Gri-rooted jhana. Then the following, the dissolution moment of that consciousness in the previous life, the old life. There arises a new existence, the rebirth linking consciousness. So rebirth linking present is studied. So that presently, the apprehending the object that's obtain the final jhana process. Final jhana is as we mentioned in the former slides there, the jhana, 5 types of jhana, the final jhana process of the previous life. So this also the reverse follow to the previous existence. So the old life and new life, this is the times. Then the rebirth, that rebirth is generated by the evolution of formation, that is called the karma. So actually the rebirth moment is only the cause. The cause is karma. The karma can produce. So that's why the productive karma of the previous jhana process, which is grounded in the twin roots of ground of existence and latent ignorance and latent craving. So the karma also need the ground to depend on, so that it can powerful to produce a new existence. It needs the ground to stand on. That ground is twin roots. One is ignorance and one is craving. So ignorance and cravings are root of the round of rebirth, because as long as they exist as a ground, and the karma can produce the existence. So standing on the root of ignorance and craving, the karma produce a new life. In this way, we are running around in the samsara, going down and going up. So for the arahat, because the arahat uprooted the twin roots of ignorance and craving. So although they have done in the past so many types of karma, that these karma cannot have the potential to produce a new life. That is why they do not take rebirth in any plane after death. So their death is the end of the samsara for them. That is called the parinibbana. So that is that when the death of the arahat happened, no more existence according to the Theravada Abhidhamma. So that's why we are not discussing about what happened in the next existence of the arahat. So because according to the Theravada Abhidhamma, there's no more new existence for the Arahant. The death is the last moment. So after that is finished for them. Okay, so let's study about the possible rebirth after death. If one is not reached to the level of Arahant, surely he will reborn in any life after death. So after death, let's see the immaterial death. So the being in the immaterial realm of existence, when that individual death, after that, the superior immaterial rebirth or sensual rebirth. If he has, if he has the practice the karma to be reborn in the higher realm where he is, he will reborn in the immaterial rebirth, higher immaterial realms. But if he could not develop up to the next level of that realms, he will be reborn in the sensual realm. Sensual realm also there after that refers to the human and deva, the sukati sensual rebirth. So it is the consciousness we can take off. So if the person is the lowest immaterial realms, akasa nanchayarana, the possible rebirth can be the higher three, and also the eight sense sphere resulting consciousness. Because if he reborn in the higher immaterial rebirth, there must be the rebirth consciousness must be the higher immaterial resultants. If he reborn in the blissful sensual planes, the rebirth consciousness must be any of eight sense sphere resulting consciousness. So in this way, we can identify the mind, a consciousness, type of consciousness after death. So if I show here the rebirth, and then you can understand, because we already identify where we reborn, the place, okay, the rebirth consciousness of realm and the types of the resultant consciousness. Then, okay, after 5 material deaths, if an individual dying at the 5 material sphere, so there can be 17 rebirths. 17 rebirths. So we have to remember there are only 19 consciousness can be rebirthed. And except rootless. So there are 2 rootless rebirths. So 2 types of the rootless consciousness which can perform the function of rebirth. So except the 2 rootless rebirths, if there are 17, it means he can reborn in the blissful and also 5 material sphere, immaterial sphere. He can be reborn there. Then after the sensual triple rooted death, so if the individual of triple rooted in sensual plane of existence, if he died, there can the possible to happen in any of 19. So any of 19 means he can reborn in any place. He can go down to up to the Avichi, the great hell, and also he can reborn in the highest one, Akanecha or Nivasanya Lasanya Yarana Brahma. In any plane of existence, the triple rooted individual can be reborn, because triple rooted have the wider sense. He can commit the great serious crime, and also he can practice up to the level of the highest jhana, and also he can reborn in the non-percipient rebirth. It means that he can reborn in the asanyasata being, where only the materiality arises. So for the triple rooted individual, as you and me have the wider potency, wider possibility to be reborn in any realm of existence. So this is the time to decide where you are going. Then there also for the noble disciple, so the narrow down, because the noble disciple of triple-rooted individual never reborn in the woeful state. They can reborn in the human realm, starting from the human realm. That is why the triple-rooted rebirth, even in the human realm, they never reborn as the double-rooted and rootless individual. They reborn as the triple-rooted. So starting from the human realm and Deva realm, Brahma realm. So only the 13 triple-rooted rebirth can be possible for the noble disciple of triple-rooted individual. Then the last one, after sensuous double-rooted, the rest, so double-rooted or rootless or non-percipients rebirth, there can be only 10 sensual rebirths. So rebirth, but it is also for the non-percipients beyond. He cannot be reborn in the rootless. Actually, only 8 for the non-percipients being. Only 8 of the sensual double-rooted or triple-rooted. He cannot be reborn as a rootless individual. So for the rootless individual and double-rooted individual, after their death, they can reborn as the rootless individual or triple-rooted individual. That is why there are 10 sensual rebirths. It means they cannot reborn in the Brahma realms. So these are the possible rebirths. And to have the more detailed information, we can study in the next level of the honorable level of the Abhidhamma study. So in this level, this is quite enough as expressed in the Abhidhamma Sangaha. So otherwise it will make you confusion. Then let's continue to the next slide. This is talking about the slide, the lesson 13 we already studied. There, the types of the consciousness. So here, the sense-sphere rebirths, 10 types of sense-sphere rebirths. So the former slide depends on this information. Okay, so 2 types of investigating consciousness accompanied by equanimity, and also 8 great resultant are sense-sphere rebirths, 10 sense-sphere rebirths, and 5 material sphere, immaterial sphere. Okay, here also we can identify the 8 great resultant into 2 classes, one double-rooted and triple-rooted. If we take the 4 triple-rooted rebirth, and if we together with the 9 sublime rebirth, it becomes the 13 triple-rooted rebirths. Okay, this is already studied, so we will go next slide. Here also the individual and their rebirth, already studied in lesson 13. And so Dogadi Ahituka, this is a woeful state or woeful rootless individual. That one, the unwholesome, so unwholesome resultant, rootless rebirth. And for Sukadi Ahituka, a wholesome resultant, investigating consciousness accompanied by equanimity. This is the blissful rootless rebirth. And since we are also divided into 2, one is 2 root is double rooted and 3 root triple rooted, and also the other sublime rebirth. So in this way, we can understand the rebirth by individual, rebirth by plane of existence. So that we can understand properly about their rebirth and death. Okay, so about the karma, let's continue about the karma and rebirth. So here we already studied in the previous lesson, in lesson 40. There already classified about the karma, the whole unwholesome karma and karma can be divided into 2. One is one cannot produce rebirth. It is the restlessness, uddhacca sahagata. So except that restlessness, the remaining, the rest 11 unwholesome karma can produce the rebirth that produce. So that produce the apaya patisandhi. So the karma is any of the 11 unwholesome karma. The result as a rebirth is apaya patisandhi. So unwholesome result in investigating consciousness accompanied by equanimity. If we identify by consciousness, type of the consciousness, then the state is in the woeful state. So rebirth linking in woeful state. Now we understand karma and rebirth relationship. Then this is the resultant during the lifetime. We already studied in lesson 13. So we will emphasize on the relationship between karma and rebirth only here. So the wholesome consciousness is classified into four types. So Tihetuka Okata, the superior wholesome karma. So we already classified here, accompanied by 3 roots, triple rooted karma. It gives rise the rebirth of the Tihetuka Patisandhi. So triple rooted rebirth. Then 2 types of karma, that is Tihetuka Omega, the inferior wholesome triple rooted karma, and Tihetuka Omega, the superior. So the superior higher class of double rooted and lower class of triple rooteds are very similar, very close. So they can produce the same types of rebirth. This is called the Tihetuka Patisandhi, which is the with the double rooted. So here it must change to the double rooted. So 2 roots. Okay. Then the Tihetuka Omega, the inferior wholesome, lower class of the double rooted wholesome, can produce the Ahetuka Patisandhi. The wholesome resultant investigate, because this is the wholesome still, although it is inferior double rooted, but still wholesome. That is why the wholesome resultant investigating consciousness accompanied by equanimity. So this is the relationship between the karma, the sense-sphere karma, and rebirth, sense-sphere rebirth. Now we have to continue to the, before continue to the suffering rebirth. There are some teacher about the saying of the some teacher. Some teachers say the unprompted karma do not produce the prompted result, and also the prompted karma do not produce the unprompted. So this superior, inferior, we can classify the asankarika and sasankarika. So according to some teacher, the literature say that the group of the kg, by the word kg, for the some teacher, according to some teacher, it must be the cause and result must be equivalent in the class of the asankarika and sasankarika. It's narrowed down, but the widely accepted is not classified by that way. Okay, so if you are asked a teacher in the Abhidhamma Sangha, you need to identify to make sure that the prompted and prompted, unprompted and unprompted in this way. This is not difficult. Let's continue about the sensual plane of existence. Here also we can, but this is not difficult as I mentioned in the slides. So superior wholesome karma and Tihetuka Patisandhi, inferior triple rooted and superior double rooted produce the Tihetuka Patisandhi. Here the result and dissociated from knowledge are only 2 rooters, and double rooted inferior is produce the Sugati Ahetuka, and here 11 unwholesome karma produce apaya patisandhi. So this slide cover all the sensual karma and rebirth. Okay, so let's continue about the sublime karma and sublime resultant. Also here, from the bottom of the table, the first jhana, if the person develop first jhana in 3 level, yeah, the limited degree, medium degree, and superior degree. So if he jhana to the limited degree, he was reborn in the Brahma's retinue, Brahma Parisaja, etc. And although they differ in the class of the beings, but the resultant consciousness is the same. The first jhana resultant consciousness. So whenever we count the consciousness, then we count the karma, and also for the araha, we call the functional. But we put aside the sublime resultant. We didn't talk about when it happened. Here, at the moment of rebirth consciousness in the Brahma world, the sublime resultant consciousness take place, and they perform their function of rebirth there in that Brahma world. According to the level, it can different the types of Brahma, but they share the same resultant consciousness as their rebirth. Then, if someone practice up to the attainment of second jhana and third jhana in the 3 level, he will reborn in the second jhana realm as a Brahma, and there also their Patisani consciousness is second jhana resultant. They share the same second jhana resultant. Although one develop up to the third jhana level, their Patisani will be second jhana in the next existence. And if one practice up to the fourth jhana level in 3 grades, he will reborn in the third jhana realms, but not to the fourth jhana realm. Already explained about that. And third jhana resultant will be their rebirth consciousness. And if one practice up to the level of fifth jhana, normally he will reborn in the gods of great river realms by the consciousness of fourth jhana resultant. This is fourth jhana realm. There's no fifth jhana realm. Then, if he practice vipassana up to the non-returnal level and combining with the power of the fifth jhana, he will reborn in the 5 pure abodes, any of 5 pure abodes. And there in lesson 2, explain the 5 pure abodes. And if the individual fifth jhana level, and also he combined with the mandate situation, dispassion toward the perception. So dispassion towards the perception, sanya viraga. By that power, by the combination of these two power, he will reborn in non-percipient being. The noble person never reborn there in non-percipient. So there only the ordinary person, he reborn there as a being. Those belong to only the process for the whole life of 500 eons. Okay, so that is the sublime consciousness. So for the immaterial plane of existence and immaterial karma are very easier. For the past immaterial karma that were produced in the first immaterial rebirth, there in the first immaterial realm. In the same way, the respective, there all 4 immaterial karma will produce the respective rebirth in respective existence. So we don't need to repeat it again. So let's continue to the conclusion of chapter 4 and 5. Here, it is said that Jat as here. Jat here means in this existence, we see we were born and we live here and then we going to die according to the lifespan. And Jaras here, so again in the next existence, you can read these passages in the Abhidhamma Sangaha Comprehensive Manual Abhidhamma in 229. There. So again in the next existence, as long as we have the craving and ignorance, we were reborn in the next existence. There arise rebirth Lincoln consciousness, Pradisandi, life continuum, Bhavanga, and also during the lifetime, the cognitive process. Only this and the life end with dead consciousness. This is, the brief history of the life from the ultimate sense. So talking about here and also next existence, the same, we will repeat it. The history will repeat it, starting from rebirth linking, life continuum, cognitive process, and end with death. This is how it happened. Then again with rebirth. So next existence also with rebirth, life continuum. And the stream of consciousness turn around in this cycle of rebirth. This is how we all beings are running around the samsara. Then what about if we escape, trying to escape from the samsara? We must be the wise person, disciplining themselves long. So training, physical discipline and verbal discipline at the beginning. After that training, the mental training also. Then he developing mental ability, promoting the power of understanding. He understand the impermanence of life. This is the vipassana, and realize the deathlessness. So this is the mecca. The deathlessness refers to the nibbana, the state of nibbana. So understanding impermanence through the impermanent suffering, non-self, and continue to the supramundane level by the experience the deathless stage of nibbana. At the same time, completely cutting off the fetters of attachment, sanyojana, and attain ultimate peace. This is cutting off the round of the samsara and the emancipation of the wise person. So in order to escape from the round of samsara, suffering running around the samsara, we have to be wise and we have to find our own emancipation. So this is a conclusion of the chapter 4 and 5, and also all we started from the beginning of the Abhidhamma Sangaha. Chapter 1 emphasize on the consciousness, manifesto, and the connection of the consciousness and manifesto in chapter 3, the process in the chapter 4, now process free. So now from the mentality side, almost we have done. We just need to study about the meditation, the process of searching for the emancipation of our own. So here we can conclude for this year's lesson, 41 lesson, by the encouragement to be wise, to find our own. May all you be free, all types of suffering. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, the first question. Dear Bande, we heard many cases. For example, a few days before a person passes away, he may have seen some signs, or he may start to recollect or talk about his life's past events, or he may see some departed relatives' image, or inviting him, etc. This happened not right before he passed away. This happened a few days before he passes away. Are this also considered as sign for death? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, for a short answer, that is not considered as sign before death. It is different. So, as recollecting about the past life is one of the function of our ordinary knowledge. How to say the knowledge, which is called the jnana. It works in that way. So some of us during starting from the childhood, they recall it. They can recall the events in the previous existence, past existence, and many events, and also they can identify the place and their family in the past existence. That is only the ordinary function of the jnana. Sometimes the departed relatives image, also the one sometimes the departed relatives beyond some beings who have the power to show up themselves, and like a beta or like a deva, and they can show up. It means they try to associate with that individual. So they are considering seeing us, the attachment in his mind, inclining by the power of that inclination, he will reborn the same as here in the group. So by that intention, they try to call him or her to their society or their community again. That is why they showed up. Showing up all the time. Possibly they can be around them, around that person, that individual. But now that is come closer to the death moment, and then they try to call them. So that is what can be possible. But it is not considered as a sign just before death. So the sign just before death is it just happened before that moment, not returning to the other process. That is regarded as the sign before death.
Second question, Benjamin Bande, part 1. How can we effectively help ourselves or someone who is near death so they can have a good death? The part 2, how can we effectively help those who are unconscious? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, for the first one, that is very important. You know that you have to consider about yourself. If I am going to die, what happened? So before we have to consider about ourselves. If we are going to die, if our physical condition is disrupting, what happened? You know that even in the good health, at the time of we are healthy, sometimes the situation disrupt our mind. At the time, keep our mental process in the proper state. So if we consider about the other person to keep in the suitable mental state, we have to care about his physical condition. And also, and what happened sometimes in Myanmar, some people, they make a big mistake. They make noise there. And some people are crying and some are talking about how they laugh or how to say that. And they are this person is not, so that he cannot go to the good destination. And also some people, they are playing the Dhamma talk audio or recitation very loud. In that near that moment, that person is very weak. That if the voice is very loud, he can, how to say that, nervous or something else, the feeling uncomfortable. That's why it also not correct way, just to make him in comfort and trying to consult with him. so that he should not be worried for everything, no worry, no fear, and just trying to realize the goodness of his life, what he has done in the during the lifetime. Good thing, only the good thing have to be selected out, and then need to want to say remind that person. That will be a big help for that person to be reborn in good destination. So forget about everything he has done, all the mistakes, forget about. Don't start, don't want to say that, don't let him remember anything wrong, just to let him remember everything he has done good. So that is two aspects. One is physically must be in comfort, and secondly, the mentally associated with a goodness, a good thing, a wholesome. Only two things important. And the unconscious, for the unconscious, I think it is, we cannot help. We cannot help because it is unconscious and near death moment just come out. So, and if we want to help that person is in unconscious, so we just need to consider possibly come to conscious just before the death. So we have to arrange in two ways. For the first question, as I said in first question, so for the unconscious Theravada tradition, we have no way, because we in our tradition just connect to the how to say the cause and effect relationship coming in the conscious moment. The unconscious moment is taking place that the resultant. So the resultant consciousness, like a bhavanga. So at that moment, we cannot help. So I heard that in other traditions, they are explaining about that how to lead during the time of unconscious. It is not our tradition. That is why I'm not discussing about that. So according to the Theravada tradition, during the time of the conscious, it can be wholesome or unwholesome. And to have that person also be conditioned to be wholesome, conditioned for wholesome mental state. That is the way how we can help the others. For ourselves also, we have to try ourselves, even though other person near that moment, we have to manage ourselves, not to be worried and not to feel anything. Just think about the wholesome and the object of the wholesome, of what we have done in the past and what we can do now, for what we can do in the present times. Okay.
Next question. Vitamin Bande, the part one. They believe that when someone just passed away, we should not touch or move the dead body for 7 hours because they believe the person consciousness still exists. Part two, according to medical doctor, they declare a person death when heart stop beating, and when there's no breathing. But according to Abhidhamma, a person is considered dead only when the life faculty is cut off. Will there be cases where the heartbeat and the breathing both stop, but the person life faculty is still existing and consciousness still exists? In such case, should we wait for some time before we move the dead body to the mortuary? Could Bande explain about this? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so for the first question, so that is from another tradition. Also, it influenced to our Theravada community. many people, they are misunderstanding that is Theravada tradition. So according to the Theravada Abhidhamma, just that moment, immediately after that, the rebirth comes. So there's no no times for 7 hours or like this. Any minute or any second. And that is why we can touch according to the Theravada tradition. It doesn't matter. It does not bother about the dead person. Whatever. Just we need to make sure he already dead or not. And so here for the second question, that from the medical point of view, the heartbeat stopping the heartbeat is the sign to decide. Then sometimes it can misunderstand the heartbeat also stop for a while. And that's why they can start again by the electrical stroke or something. That is from the medical point of view. For the Abhidhamma, there are 3 aspects to check it here. Ayu, which is called the life faculty. And Usma, this is the heat of the temperature. That is the heat of the body. So after that heat gone, so which is arise due to the mindful matter, that heat also gone. Life faculty cut off at the time, the heat also gone. And the consciousness cannot continue in that life. At that time, we can decide that person is dying, that person dying. And otherwise, still the life faculty is there, not cutting off. Although he's not breathing or the heart is not beating, but still life faculty there. It is possible without the heart beating, the life faculty can be continue, not cut off. And also still the body temperature can be in the smallest amount there to be living. And also still the consciousness. So the consciousness cannot test by the medical tools or scientific tools. That's why the decision, we should wait for some time. Maybe if we can wait for some time, and we need to check to make sure you are already dead or not. It's better to wait if we can. And also the different where we continue, their medical research until the medical research develop up to the check after the level of checking. What I said, the life faculty, it is mentality and materiality. So maybe they can check the materiality, but it will be difficult to check the mentality. So still the life faculty, mentality, life faculty, and the vijnana, they cannot check. So when they can check that mentalities by their medical medical tool, we will come to the same points. Okay.
Next question. Randomly Bande, some teachers said that if the image of forest appears during our near-death moment, we may reborn as an animal in the forest. If we like to meditate in the forest so much, would this attachment to the forest affects us during our near-death moment? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, don't worry. So the forest, what does it mean? They are to be reborn as a hungry ghost or animals in the forest. That is fearful forest, not the pleasant one. So not, if you meditate, you may like that forest as a pleasant place. This is without any disturbance. This is very beautiful forest. If the beautiful forest come, you may think this is the garden or this isolation place of isolation to perform the gods. That is why you don't need to worry for meditating in the forest to be reborn as an animal. So the wholesome consciousness and wholesome deed will not produce unwholesome, never. It will never produce unwholesome result. That is why you don't need to worry about the forest to meditate. Trying to be in the forest, it is good for you.
Next question. Dear Pandey, if we have a lot of regrets in our mind and some deep regrets for good deeds we did not do or bad deeds we should not have done, are these regrets dangerous for us, especially at the near-death moment? Would this cause us to reborn to hell? How do we help ourselves to overcome such regrets so that they will not affect our near-death moment? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Yes, this is a very good question. And also, many people may misunderstand about the regret. It's helpful for us. Actually, it does not helpful to be good. So, if we have a lot of regret, we have to manage ourselves not to incline our mind toward that regret events or regret things. So we don't need to consider about that. Just learn the lesson. Okay, this is we should not miss this opportunity. We should not do this unwholesome deed for the remaining lifespan. This is enough. Regret is not the wholesome mental state. It's just after learning the lesson, we should forget everything about that. And whenever it encounter the events or that we have made mistake or we have done anything wrong, that and whenever we encounter in next time in our life, and we have to remind ourselves not to go to the side of regret, just to be in the side of the wise person. The wise person just learned the lesson, and the wise person performed properly, and the wise person can enjoy by performing the wholesome deed. So we have to be wise all the time instead of repeating that regret. That's why that is, as you said, the very dangerous situation or very dangerous habit, living in the regret, living with the regret mental situation. That is why I just want to suggest that to be wise, to wipe off the regret. So if as long as you are the wise person, you have no more regret. You have no more regret. The past cannot repair. Just accept. The result will come. The result will come by the time. To prevent the result of unwholesome, we just need to perform the wholesome deeds, which is the opposite of unwholesome. So, for example, if someone make the killing, someone did wrong, performing the killing in the past. So, after knowing this is not good to avoid, so after that, he need to decide that I won't kill any beings from this time on. Then after this decision, don't need to consider about how many I kill or I did. Just, okay, from this time on, I have to make the opposite of the killing, so developing the loving kindness toward all beings and helping out and saving their life. So that can give the opposite the result of the killing to prevent its result. As you know, that we have the destructive karma and also destructive karma and also the to prevent the other karma, other side. That's why if we have done to be regret, we have to replace all the time to be by the karma to be enjoyed, to be to escape from that result. Okay, this is very important. Important information how to live in your life. Everyone has done the mistake in their life, but if you live in regret, you are repeating unwholesome all the time. That's why you need to be wise to escape from regrets. Okay.
Next question. Dear Pandey, could Pandey explain what is the possible mindset of a person who is going to commit suicide? Actually, to commit suicide using various ways are very fearful and painful. How could a person commit that action? And what may be their near-death object? If a fearful and painful action, they would definitely reborn to awful state.
Okay, for the first part, it will be very difficult to find the possible mindset for the person who is going to commit suicide, because so I don't want to suggest for that any mindset for that person going to commit suicide, because I don't want anybody to commit suicide. And also during the time of the Buddha, and some monks, they commit suicide, but after that they take pre-nibbana, and maybe some of them reborn in the good existence. So because their mental state is good, that they can keep continuously the wholesome. Like this, the one monks develop into the jhana, and due to the disruption of the illness, he lost concentration, going down again and again, and then he decided to commit suicide because he wanted to maintain that wholesome mental state in his mental process. That is very, very good attitude, but we should not take example for that. Because it is not sure near that moment, and also I never recommend to commit suicide. And also for another part, if a person is committing suicide in different ways, many of the way to die are fearful. That's why it's possible near that moment his mind is overcome by their fear. That the fear is not good to keep the mental state for the next existence. That is right. And also we cannot decide if he is fearful or painful action near that moment will lead to reborn in the woeful state, because the mind is so fast. After seeing the fearful or painful action, and that fearful image of painful action, if that person could change it to, to escape from this fearful situation, the Buddha preached, or like this, if he can recall it about that, and switch to the wholesome side, he can be reborn in the good destination too. And also feeling the painful feeling after death, and he is observing that and then impermanence, etc., just to start the wholesome mental state that can helpful to be reborn in the wholesome, in the good destination. But it is all the situation are uncertain. That is why we don't need to commit the suicide, and we just need to accept any situation we encounter in this life, whether it is good or bad, because it is due to the karma we have done. If we escape this time, also next time what happens. So everything we have done as a karma, it produces result. So we just accept. If we can manage, we change to the good side. If we cannot manage, and we just try to be patient ourselves to accept this situation. How bad, how serious, how to say that, or painful, we have to accept and try to be ourselves with that life and try to connect with the wholesome state. That is the proper way of managing our life other than committing suicide. Okay.
Dear Pandey, what is the reason for twin or triplet or many babies to be born at the same time? What may be their near-death moment?
Okay, for the twin or triplet baby, they come from the maybe sometime from the same accident. Some people come, and some from the different place, a different realm of existence, but they are that moment is actually the same in the former life, previous life, and then that is why their birth consciousness come. But sometimes, you know, that although they were born from the mother's womb as a twin or triplet, but their mind movement can be different. Sometimes, you know, they are as young as 5 minutes or like this. So they also have the different death in the previous life, but they already had done the karma together in one life in the past. That's why they were reborn in that way. So this is not there's so much strain for that, just constantly in the mother's womb, just association in the mother's womb, and also it's the same as we are seeing outside after being born. Is not from the Abhidhamma side, and we are coming. You know that you and your friend, without making any appointment, and you can meet in the bus stop or in the airport somewhere like this. So they meet in the mother's womb. Only that's event. Okay.
Vanderming Sayadaw, after Vasa and Katina ceremony finished, monk can put the bowls in dining hall away separately. His staying place, sadhu.
Oh, this is not related to the bowl. For the katina, the benefits of the katina related to the robes. So only the 3 set of robes. So it's not related to the bowl. We have to care about the bowl. It is discipline as mentioned in the Vinaya rules. Okay, let's start our aspiration and ceremony section. Please repeat after me. Imina punya kamina.
Imina punya pamena.
Mami pala samagamo.
Mame pala samegamo.
Sadam samagamo hodu.
Satan samagamo hodu.
Yava nibbana patiya.
Yava nibbana patiya.
Idame punyam.
Idame punyam.
Hodu.
Asavakaya vaham hodu.
Idame punyam.
Idame punyam.
Nibbana sapajayo hodu.
Nibbana sapachayo hodu.
Mama punya bhagam.
Mama punyam bhagam.
Sabasatanam bhajemi.
Sabasatanam bhajemi.
Esabe.
Te sabe. Me samang.
Punya bhagam labantu.
Punya bhagam labantu.
Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.